Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 13 of Ref the District, your DC Sportscast. I'm Nathan Perry. With me, my co-host, my friend, it's the Stoner.
What's up, Nathan?
Pretty
How
good.
you doing,
Big
buddy?
episode today. We've got a lot going on in our warm-up. We're going to go over our weekly review of the Nats, Caps, and Wiz. Post-game, we're going to be talking about Alex Smith's retirement and some excitement in the tight end position for our Washington football team. Big game, though. Big time game for us today. It's the first ever inaugural first round mock draft for Ref the District. We brought in some help. I'm pretty excited. I haven't actually watched the videos. I haven't seen the draft video submission, so I'm really excited about this.
Yes, I've watched them all probably too many times while prepping them so that you can see them, but they're going to be a lot of fun today.
Good. Well, we have some viewers on us. So we do stream this live every Sunday at 10 o'clock. If you are watching it live, feel free to hit us up in the chat. We got a good morning and big day today from our two listeners right now that are feeling a little catchy. So go ahead and let us know in the chat that you're watching us live. If you don't happen to catch us live, don't worry. We do share these later on in the day. We just want to make sure we clip them up so that way people can get there. We got a viewer listening right there with the Stoner. You're on I see the background, but I notice you're a little fuzzy at times.
Yeah.
What you got going on there?
Yeah, I got a little bit different background than normal. It might look the same, but I've got a virtual background going. I'm traveling right now. Can't tell you where I am. I'm in an undisclosed location. But so today we may be in our second to last day of quarantine, which is going to be nice to get out of this room. It's a 7-day quarantine. And they took our test today. We did our COVID test today. And I'm not telling anybody anything new that anybody hasn't already experienced, but those COVID tests suck. I can't stand those things. How many have you done? I'm sure you've done a lot because you had the hospital stay and everything, but how many do you think you've done in the last 6 months?
I got away with only doing 2 in the hospital, so I had to get the first one when I first went in. The second time I got away with it because I was back in the hospital at 13 days. So if they said if it was 2 weeks, they were going to have me do another one. So I was just like, well, it's been 13 days, so I really don't need one. And even though I stayed in the hospital for another 5 days, no one actually pushed me to get one. But then on the third stay, I had to get swabbed again. So
they're just the worst. They feel like they're poking your brain. And by the way, here they do a throat test, or not a test, but a throat swab twice. They do 2 of those, and each nostril twice. And it's so unpleasant.
They're trying to cover their bases.
Katie
on our chat says it's like someone puts hot sauce directly in your sinuses. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, that's exactly right, Katie. Exactly right.
It's gross. It's wrong. We do have listeners from Ottawa, Canada. So hi to Dustin and Sarah all the way up in Canada. Thank you for joining us this morning. Again, we're doing this live as we do every Sunday. Go ahead and hit us up in the chat, and I'll read off some as we go along. I do want to, we got a long episode today, right? Because we got this draft. Pretty excited about that. But we want, it's a DC Sportscast. We got to talk about our other teams here. Wiz on a heater.
Bonafide heater. 7 in a row. 9 out of 10, I believe. It might even be 10 out of 11. I can't even remember. They've won so many, I've lost track. I love what they're doing. They're playing. Russ is playing at an MVP level. Beal's doing his thing. Gafford has really come on strong.
At the break there. Yeah, at the trade.
At the trade, yeah. And think about they've lost Thomas Bryant, who is their starting center. They've lost Denny Avdia for the season. They've had a lot of injuries that they've been dealing with. Rui has been in and out of the lineup lately. He's been out with a bad knee. So they're doing all this really almost with a patchwork lineup. The 2 constants, of course, are Beal and Westbrook, and that's who's carrying them. I will say I would caution a little bit because they've been playing a super easy schedule for the most part. They've been playing the dregs of the NBA, which is fine. At one point, they were one of those dregs. But they have to.
Yeah, I was about to say that's what you say all the time.
Nice
you say it all the time. You got to play the teams that are in front of you. They got to beat the teams in front of them, and they're doing that. They've worked their way into the play-in game. If they can keep this up, maybe they move a little bit further. Right. Really impressive play coming from the team defensively as of late. They're actually, I think, during this time frame, I think they're actually rated as one of the top 5 defensive teams, which is how they're winning. This is how they won their previous before the All-Star break. They went on like an 8-for-9 win as well, and it was their defense. And now you have a guy like Gafford who is providing a great defensive boost, I think, for the team. Westbrook did a great job on Curry just the other day.
Sure did.
We'll see how it goes. Beal just slightly behind Curry in the points race, so keep looking out for that. Russell is very much likely going to have another triple-double average for the season. Just impressive what he's doing. Do you think he's going to... I know I asked this before, but do you think he's going to get the... Is he going to break Oscar's record this season? It's possible.
Well, you asked me that last week, and I said no. I'd like to amend my answer and say yes, he's going to. Because if he does not get a triple-double, you say, well, what happened? What's wrong with Russ? Well, he had a terrible game or something. And he ends up with 24, 10, and
misses
8.
Misses
and you're like, oh, something's wrong with Russ. Yeah, he's been amazing. You just expect it. And you almost expect it in the first half nowadays. He's getting really close by halftime. So, yeah, I think he'll break it this year. But here's a question. We don't have to get too deep into it. But remember we talked about Scotty Brooks' job. And, again, if he took them on a run, is he going to save his job? I still don't think so, but I don't know what you think if there's a chance that he holds on to his job. I said this before. Or his contract's out, so he'd have to get
I said this before. The only way he's staying on is if they make the finals, and I think probably only win the finals. Like I think that's it. I think that's you got to, with his track record, you got to think, if I'm the owner anyways, this is how I'm looking at it. He hasn't proved that he can do it. We finally get some superstar talent. And yes, he makes it, but you also have some young guys in there that you want to make, push to the next level. So if you want continued success, you got to move on. You got to move on to somebody else. Obviously an OKC guy, it hurt to watch the Thunder game because these days I really am cheering on the Wizards. And so that game was very conflicting for me. But Scott Brooks is who he is. You move on and try to find somebody who can take this talent with Beal, who you've got locked in. Westbrook looks like he wants to stay here. So, somebody who's playing, again, like you said, at an MVP level, plus these young guys, I think you got to move on regardless. Like I said, if he wins the championship, if he wins the whole thing, okay, I told you, give him like a 1-year prove-it deal. And you're like, no one's going to sign that. I was like, okay, then you move on. I think I just don't see a world where it makes sense to keep Scotty Brooks. Scotty's got to go. That's been our motto this whole time. The 12 episodes prior. I'm sticking with it. No.
And here's a name for you, Nathan. Mike D'Antoni. Watch out for him as being the guy who comes in to replace.
I hope we lost Scotty a listener Brooks. Just as you said that, so I imagine they disagree with you as well. I can't. Why would you even throw that out there? Let's move on from the no.
I'm telling you.
No, let's move on from the Wiz, the Caps. Those Caps keep doing what they're doing, and I'm expecting big things once we get to the playoffs.
Yeah, they're in the top of the East again. They got overtaken there just for a night by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been hot, but it's going to be those 4 teams in the playoffs. It almost doesn't matter what position they finish 1 through 4. It's going to be Pittsburgh, the Islanders, Boston, and the Caps, and it's going to be a war. No matter who's playing who, those are going to be wars. So it's nice that they're playing those teams now so that they're not playing the Buffaloes and the Phillies, and they do play some of those games later, but it's good. They've got this nice 3-game series against the Islanders, and they can beat them in a low-scoring game where it went 0-0 to a shootout, or they can beat them in a high-scoring game like last game 6'3". So they can do it both ways. So I like what I'm seeing from them, and I can't wait for the playoffs. What are they, about 10 games away from the playoffs? Quickly.
Now, the trade deadline just happened for them as well, and I think, if I recall correctly, you're a little disappointed they got rid of their young talent. New guy's doing pretty well. That Backstrom, Oshie, and new guy line is looking pretty sweet. The
new guy.
I mean, you're the one who didn't want him.
Yeah.
Or rather, I guess you didn't want to give up who the Caps gave up.
Yeah, I didn't want to give up Verana. He was my guy. And if you saw Verana, the last game out for Detroit, I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah.
He had 4. Yeah, he had 4.
He's a very talented player. I do think that there's probably good things coming up for him. But Mantha, as he's working out, he's doing good. He's scored.
Yeah, so. Mantha's been great so far. You can't ask for a whole lot more. You can't ask for 4 goals like Verana.
Well, that's a rarity. Plus, when you got the goal scorers you do have on the team now, there is cause for concern for the Caps. Because one of their big guys is Ovi's hurt. And this is a rarity. You know, he's not missed a lot of games in his career, but he didn't play in that overtime victory. He ended up not playing anything in overtime. And I don't think he played like in the last minute or so of the third period.
Right.
You know, what do we think is going to go on with Ovi? You know, are they going to rest him? Because like you said, they're pretty much a lock going to the playoffs, so they rest him so that way he can make a splash in the playoffs.
He's not a load management player. You know, that load
I don't think
management
the
that
NHL
they use
believes
in other sports. Yeah, they don't. But he's not one of those guys. He'll play through all kinds of injuries. So if he doesn't play, that's kind of a big deal because he's not the type of guy who just sits out to rest a game. So if he's not playing, he's hurt. So it's good that it's now. Hopefully they can ease him back into the lineup, and by the time the playoffs start, he's ready to go.
Well, we hope the best for our Caps. Let's go to our Nats, who last week I said, hey, maybe by our next show they'll be 500. Not quite there. Soto's out.
Yep.
Pitching still is erratic, but they have looked better than their 1-5 start. So some good pitching from Ross just the other day. Like we said, they're getting some help from unlikely people as their starters and their star players aren't necessarily producing. But then again, Trey Turner is looking like the best shortstop in the game right now.
Yep, and you got to pay him pretty darn soon.
It's going to be pretty pricey.
You're going to have to pay him, and you better pay him. I don't want to hear any of this deferred money. He's going to go to another team. I don't want to hear that. That's over with. Or tell Trey Turner just take the deferred money, please, and stay. One of those
Stoner
two,
and I will beg
here.
both Turner and Soto to stay on the team.
Take the deferred money.
We'll see how it goes.
Please.
Do you think the Nats are going to turn around? Do you think that they continue, this trend where they're getting to a 500 ball, or are they going to kind of mire here for a little bit until we get Soto back and we can see the some of the offensive bats start lighting up because you're against DeGrom, you're not expecting offense, but they looked pretty abysmal anyways. But then the next game.
Well, so does everybody else.
Like I said, DeGrom is DeGrom. Like the guy is lights out. It's a good thing the rest of the Mets suck because we don't need them to do well. But the bats come to alive every other game or so. When can we expect some consistency from them?
I don't know. That's going to be the key. They've got to get more consistent on both sides. Their pitching needs to get more consistent. You can't have Corbin giving up 10 runs in one game and 0 the next game. Let's try to even that out a little bit. And same with Fetty was doing that. They need to get healthy. They need to get Strasburg back. They need to get some of their bullpen arms back. They need to get Soto back. So if they get healthy, then hopefully they can be more consistent. But as bad as they are, they're in last place in the East, in the NL East. How many games out of first are they?
Yeah, I was about to say everybody's so packed in there.
The NL East has not been good. Right. So it's not time to panic yet.
Baseball's a long season. We'll have to see how it goes. We got Eminem Oldham in our chats right now. The Nationals had a major league high 6 games with 1 run or 0, and they're sniffing 500. It's not as bad as it could be. We'll see. Katie's going to be going to a Flyers Devils game.
Good point.
Hey, that's those are teams in the NHL. Not as good as our Caps, though. All right, enough with the other DC sports. We got big time stuff happening today. This is what most of our viewers are coming here. This is the first ever, the inaugural first round mock draft with Ref the District. We called in a lot of friends, a lot of favors. Pretty excited about this, Stoner.
I'm excited as well. I don't know what some people were doing with their picks, but that's what mock drafts are all about, right? You can look at them and you can criticize them, and you can look at them and you say, wow, that's a very intelligent pick. But a lot of them, I looked at them and said, I don't know what you're doing. That's why you're a fan and not a GM. But I'm looking forward to seeing all the videos. And you and I made a few picks. And, of course, when we get to 19, that's going to be a nice little debate.
And I'll remember that line. That's why you're a fan and not a GM. Okay? Well, let's remember that. Right. As we get to pick 19.
Hey.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start off. As you mentioned, we will be making some of the picks. We did have quite a few people help us out with this, fans of the other teams. Hey, if you're one of those people, thank you, and we hope that you're watching us live. If you're somebody who would like to participate in Ref the District, just go ahead and just hit us up. You can see our Twitter account right there, @Ref the District, or let us know in the comments. Hey, I'd like to be a part of. Hit us up in the DMs. Message us here. However you can get us. Let us know. We'll have you on the show with us if we can fit you in. Which Stoner, I think we can fit them in.
We can fit them in. Absolutely. And I love the videos.
I have not watched them. I am really looking forward to this because I did just enough to make sure that they were going to be here on the screen and that the audio was going to work. So outside of that, we'll see. We'll see. So Katie suggests we put fan, not a GM, on a shirt. We'll have to get that done. Jazzy's our producer. So Jazzy, please get on that. You can see our Ref District cups. I have mine. I don't know if Stoner brought his with him, traveling mug. You let me down, Stoner. You let me down.
I did. It's on the other side.
So if you want some swag, also hit us up for that. That's my lovely wife there, Jazzy, who's doing that. But hey, enough with this cup talk. Let's get to it. Jacksonville's on the clock. Who do you got, Stoner?
Well, we kind of took this pick as a Ref the District pick because there really is no debate. Neither one of us are going to say anything different. But of course, with the first pick of the very first inaugural Ref the District mock draft, on behalf of the Jaguars, Ref the District selects Trevor Lawrence, quarterback from Clemson University. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer.
I think that there's been some hoopla about the fact that he came out and he said he doesn't really need the game. A lot of people this guy's been the number 1 pick for like 3 years. They were just waiting for him to enter the draft, and he was anointed his freshman season as a number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. And he's not let up. He's never done anything to say, nope, this isn't the guy. A lot of people look at him as the best prospect since Andrew Luck. They can't miss. Jacksonville's got themselves, hopefully the QB for their future. Obviously not a lot of luck there. Urban Meyer maybe turns things around. He's done that for, college programs. Will he be able to do that for Jacksonville's?
Yeah, he definitely is. They've got a lot of picks. They're starting over. They got a new coach, new GM, I believe. Everything's brand new. They're starting over. What's the best way to do it with a big, strong quarterback from a big-time college who has big-time stats and accolades? So I think it's a perfect fit. No problem with that pick.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to pick number 2. It's New York Jets on the clock.
Jets fans! All right. You can calm the booze down. That way, calm the booze. So, and with the second pick in the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the New York Jets select Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU. He'll be good. He'll be good. Throw the ball, Zach. Throw the ball. Throw the ball good. J-E-T-S.
It just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That was a thing that happened. I don't think this is a surprise either. I think that this is this is precisely what people expect to happen. The Jets even got rid of Darnold to make this available. This pick to be this obvious. So, all right, this guy. There are some people who think he's actually going to be better than Trevor Lawrence. Are you one of those people? Are you on the Zach Wilson train?
I mean, let's just say before this season started, or this past college football season started, I had no idea who Zach Wilson was. And then next thing you know, he's everybody's number 2 pick. So I haven't seen one mock draft where there's been anybody other than Zach Wilson. So I guess he's the guy. I have no idea. Sure, I've watched him play a little bit. He seems to have the size, the arm strength, the mobility, all that good stuff. He's got the legs. So I guess he's the right pick.
Honestly, he looks the part. I think I would be more excited to have Wilson than Lawrence. I think Lawrence is obviously a great talent and everybody and everything, but Zach Wilson is very impressive when you watch him play. Not that Lawrence isn't, but Zach Wilson kind of has this like wow factor. So it'll be interesting. He had that big pro day throw, and people were just absolutely losing their minds over it. So he's going to be an interesting watch. Hopefully the Jets don't ruin him like they have their previous quarterbacks that they've taken. But who knows? Maybe in a few years we'll be talking about how Washington should trade away a 3rd-round pick to take up Zach Wilson because he didn't live up to his promise. Much like Darnold did.
And what a great video too by Justin and Kristen there that. And you're going to see a common theme. Let me just warn you about the top 15 picks. You're going to see a common theme of just beating down fans because
there's a reason why they're there, right? They're there in the bottom.
Yeah, it's the same teams every year. Right. So yeah, you can see he's just a beaten down Jets fan, and I feel bad for Justin, but thanks for doing that video.
Thank you very
hilarious.
much. Now our next one is not by a San Fran fan. So this worried me when we assigned this to our friend Trevor. I was just like, he's gonna pick a player that he wants to see play for the next like 2-3 years. I don't know. We'll see what he does though here. This is San Fran Trevor with the number 3 pick.
Hey Nathan. Hey Stoner. Miss you guys. Hope you're doing well. Love the show. Fantastic work, guys. Hey, I'm excited to be part of this mock draft, and with the 3rd pick in the first annual Ref the District mock draft, San Francisco 49ers, they're going against the grain. Justin Fields, quarterback, the Ohio State University. Why are we picking Justin? Well, 4-4 wheels are going to do some damage in the toughest division in the NFC, possibly the NFL. And that arm, did you see the pro day? Did you see it, guys? I'm excited. Justin, sliding into that QB room. Jimmy G, take a seat. Have a great show, guys.
I like this pick. I like Fields as the number 3. There's a lot of talk. This is where I think that a lot of mock drafts kind of turn the corner, right? There's a lot of people who are saying Mac Jones is the pick. Now a lot of people are thinking that's a smokescreen. Trey Lance had a pro day that was essentially assigned by by San Francisco. Like all their people were essentially pulling the strings for it. Is Trey Lance going to be their guy? We have Trevor going with Fields here. I like the pick. I think Fields is going to be great. I think in that system he's going to be great. I know late on there was a little bit of scare, and this might be something that we see if Fields drops. This might be a reason, but he has a medical condition. So that was something but that's something he's been dealing with, and he's still playing at an all-world level. So I still think that he should go in those picks, but who do we know, right? What do we know? We're just fans. We're not GMs.
That's right. We're fan, not GM. Hashtag. However you do that. Oh, there you go. Hashtag fan, not GM. Yeah, I don't understand why he's dropping in a lot of drafts. He's going to be, I think he's going to be a great quarterback. He is one of those guys that I have seen play a lot because he's been an East Coast guy, first at Georgia and then Ohio State. I understand it's not East Coast, but you know what I mean. He's on the eastern side of things, so you see him.
They play against Maryland
Saturday. Playing. Yeah, I mean he's great. There was a point at one point during the season, he had more. What was it? He had more touchdowns than he had incompletions, and this wasn't like after 2 games. This was more than halfway through the year. He had like 15 touchdowns and only 14 incompletions. That's an absurd stat. He struggled a little bit at the end, but come on. Justin Fields is a real deal. Smart pick by Trevor, even though, like you said, you thought maybe he might pick somebody crazy because
I thought
he's
Mac
a Seattle
Jones
guy.
was going to be the pick because he is a Seattle guy, and he was just like, I want to play Mac Jones. We've talked a lot about how we don't really like Mac Jones. Hopefully he's not there for us in 19 because I don't want to have that argument then. But Trevor, I think, did on us by San Francisco, so I think it's pretty good. Now, here's the question: we have some familiarity with the Ohio State quarterback tree, with Dwayne Haskins being a flameout. There's a lot of talk on that level where people are like, Ohio State quarterbacks just don't pan out. Do you buy into that, or do you think you just got to look at the player?
Yeah, you just look at the player. I don't believe in any of that stuff that just because he's in a certain system that he's not going to be good enough. I don't believe any of that. If you can play, you can play. Now, I could be proven wrong, but I think Justin Fields is a player. I agree.
I think on that level, when you're talking about you got to look at the player, not the helmet or the scheme. You got Patrick Mahomes, who was an air raid quarterback. But you know what? Seems like he's doing pretty all right for himself in the NFL.
That's right.
We're going to move on to pick number 4. This is Atlanta with Tim.
What's up, Nathan and Stoner? Tim Gabby, certified miserable Falcons fan, coming to you from my certified miserable apartment mid-move. As a certified Falcons fan, the conversation every year, the last couple of years, is always centered around Matt Ryan. He's the brand, love him or hate him. A lot of people are favoring the big pick going up for the quarterbacks, but I see we already got a lot of the quarterbacks off the board. But that's fine because my mind is with where Matt Ryan is in the cap space, and we still got to pay Julio for a couple more years, I think we should protect that brand. We're going to trust the process for 1 or 2 more years until we can kind of cut some of that. So we're going to circle back and get a quarterback probably second round. For the first round, the Atlanta Falcons select Penei Sewell, offensive tackle from the University of Oregon. Protect Mac Ryan. Let's give it one more go. Can't wait to blow some more leads.
So we got the first offensive tackle, Sewell.
Another beaten down fan.
That's great. He's definitely in the process of moving into a home. Congratulations, Tim, for that. Thank you for the video.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Penei Sewell, the pick, the first tackle. This guy looks like the best tackle in the draft. So I mean, there's some other names there that kind of are vying for 2 and 3. But this one's the clear pick. Some people thought that he was going to go second overall until the Jets, made that decision to go for the QB. I like how Tim was just like, I see, all the quarterbacks gone. He's picking 4th. Apparently not on the Trey Lance chain. But this is one of those things that people have talked about where Atlanta is okay. They're trying to shop this pick around. They could trade out of the 4 as somebody comes in to take one of those QB talents that are still on the board.
Yeah, and taking an offensive tackle with the 4th overall pick is never fun as a fan. You want to have a quarterback or a receiver running something that is fun to watch. An offensive tackle is not a sexy pick, but it's a solid pick. And it will do them a lot of good in Atlanta. solid pick. Good job, Tim. Nice video. I can see you're beaten down.
Ready for them to blow a lot of leads. We'll see how that goes out for them. Moving on to our 5th pick. You're on the clock with Cincinnati.
All right, so this is the pick I made for Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is, I think they're an up-and-coming team. They've got their quarterback of the future, we think. I already forgot the guy, Joe Burrow, right? And they have a couple of good weapons. Yeah, we're very professional. We do our homework. They have some good weapons. I thought offensive linemen, an offensive tackle, same thing that Atlanta needs. I thought maybe that, but once they took Seawolf off the board there, I thought it would be best to get them some help to score some more points on teams. So with the 5th pick, is that where we're running? Yes, the 5th pick of the first ever, the inaugural Ref the District draft on behalf of the Cincinnati Bengals, I am selecting Jamar Chase, wide receiver from LSU. Now, Jamar did not play at all last year. He opted out, like a lot of people had the opportunity to do, and he did that. But still, his numbers, his combine numbers, his performance from the year before were all outstanding. I think he's a stud receiver, and I think it's a great pick.
And it goes into what you were talking about there. You really want, as a fan, to have these kind of exciting players here. I'm a little shocked that you're going to go with Jamar Chase here. I do think that he is obviously, in that top tier of receivers, but there's still some good talent on the board. Otherworldly talent. Kyle Pitts is a name that is being thrown around as being a top 5 pick for a tight end. Why did you go with Jamar Chase over Kyle Pitts here?
I don't know that there's necessarily anything specific of why I chose one or the other. I could have chosen Kyle Pitts. It was offensive tackle, receiver, tight end, Pitts specifically, not necessarily tight end, but Pitts specifically. And I just decided to go with a stud receiver because a tight end, I know he's going to get picked high, but they have more than one job. They're not just catching balls. They've got to be able to block as well, and I don't know if he can do that. He's going to be a stud. He's a can't misser, but I wanted to go with something where all he has to do, just run down the field, Joe Burrow will throw it to you. That's my kind of guy.
Well, they do need to replace A.J. Green, and they do need some live playmakers for that young Cincinnati team. We'll see how well they do. Joe Burrow coming back from injury that he had against our Washington football team. Moving on to pick number 6, we had Tony with Miami. You're on the clock.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner, thanks for having me. I would say I'm a fan of this show, but I hate the Redskins as much as I hate the Cowboys and Patriots. All joking aside, the Dolphins will take Devontae Smith with the 6th pick of the draft. We're going to get to some much-needed weapons, and this is just the beginning.
All right. Took me off guard there. Late transition, that's on me. Thank you, Tony, for the video. We are no longer using that name. It is Washington football team. We did have some discussions. Go ahead and check out one of our older videos on where we stand with the name. I'm still feeling that DCFC thing, man. I more and more, but we can talk about that another time. This is an interesting pick here. Now, Tony did reach out to me. He actually wanted Jamar Chase. He was looking for that one. Goes with Devontae Smith here. A lot of people are thinking this is your guy who's going to slide quite a bit, maybe even out of the first round. This is a Heisman winner. This is a guy who plays just at a different level than the other receivers. Obviously, Jamar Chase and him are probably 1A and 1B as far as the receivers. But when you look at him, he's just barely 6 foot. I think he's just like a fraction over 6 foot, and he's 166 is what I think he last weighed in at. Because there was no combine this year, but they still had to do some measurement stuff, and that leaked out that he was under 170. Was that a leak out because some team is hoping that he does slide to them in the draft? You never know. With the draft, there's a lot of smoke screens that go on. It's going to be interesting to see see where he goes in the draft. For us, he goes number 6. Are you happy with Devontae Smith going to Miami?
Yeah, I think that's a great pick for Miami. He gets to team back up with Tua, his college quarterback for a couple of years. I don't think his small size is going to hurt him because if you've seen his hands, he has unbelievable hands. Obviously, he has great speed, quickness. He has everything you want. So he's a little bit smaller. Maybe that gets him hurt a little bit more. But I would have no problem drafting that guy. That dude is a stud.
For his sake, I hope that he goes into a place, Miami has Tua at the QB position. You just want a QB to not put him in a position where he's going to get just blasted. I think that he's been playing football his whole life. He's in a program in Alabama that plays against a lot of people that make it to the NFL level. So he's been getting hit big, his entire college career. What you don't want to see though is one of those catches across the middle where he just gets lit up, right? You want to make sure you're throwing him open. If you throw him open, he gets a few steps and he gets hit. I think that he'll be fine. We'll see. Hopefully, big things coming for Devontae Smith there in Miami. We're on
Maybe Washington is one of those teams who are leaking out his size so that he'll fall all the way to 19.
Another receiver. They've made a lot of moves at receiver, and we talked about them not necessarily wanting one in the draft. So I think that's pretty interesting. It could, they already have a slew of small receivers, though, so it'll be interesting. I do like Devontae Smith as a talent. I'd be okay if Washington takes him, but Washington has, I think, at least enough receivers to get past here. Plus, this is a wide receiver draft. You might not get one of the top guys, but if you get somebody in the second or third round, you can still get a very good playmaker there. We'll see who Detroit takes here. Kim is on the clock with our number 7 pick.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner. I love the show. So I will be making the pick for the Detroit Lions. With the 7th pick of the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the Detroit Lions select Jalen Waddle, wide receiver, Alabama. Somehow picking a wide receiver harkens memories of Matt Millen. I know, I hear you. But after losing 2 of their best wide receivers in free agency, we needed a solid pickup at this position. Let's hope with the shakeup at quarterback, Goff and Waddle will become an instant connection, and we'll see lots of action in the end zone for the Lions. I mean, we've got a long way to go, no doubt about it. As one of only 12 teams to have never even hoisted the Lombardi Trophy, let alone being one of 5 teams that have never even been to the big dance. Ugh. It's rough, and the struggle is real in Motor City. It is. But fear not, Lions fans, fear not. Our day will come, and I'll be here cheering them on the whole way. So, go Lions! Thanks again, Nathan and Chris.
All right. That makes sense to me. You got Goff. You lost some playmakers. You're going to want some playmakers for him. I think there's a sizable drop in QB play here when you're going from Stafford to Goff. So I think it makes sense that you want to be able to give that QB someone to throw to, so that way that sizable gap isn't as noticeable.
Yeah, and Jalen Waddle, another stud. I think with, like she said, the Lions lost 2 receivers to free agency, so they obviously need a receiver. So I think that's another excellent pick. And also, she did contact me to correct on the number of teams that have not made it to the Super Bowl. It's actually only 4. She said 5, and then she said, "Oh, I messed up. It's actually only 4." So she wanted me to correct that for her. But yeah, what great insight she has on the Lions, right? She knows all about the Matt Millen era when they were selecting receivers all the time and playing, being a terrible team. So yeah, that was an excellent pick, Jalen Waddle.
Hopefully this is turning into more of the Calvin Johnson wide receiver stud that they got instead of some of the other picks that they missed on with those wide receivers in the first round. We'll see for Detroit. We're going to move on to Carolina. I'm on the clock for Carolina today.
Carolina.
And the drop has ended for Kyle Pitts with the 8th pick and the first ever inaugural Ref the District first round mock draft, Carolina selects Kyle Pitts. This is a talent that nobody has seen in years at tight end. Name a tight end who's been this lauded in years. Coming out of college. Has there been a tight end ever that's had the hype that Kyle Pitts has? This guy is not a tight end. He's a wide receiver who happens to play inside, but he can block. He can, do a lot of the things you expect him to do at the tight end position. At least he was doing it at the college level. See if he does it at the NFL level. And the guy's 6'6", 240, runs, a faster 40.
What did he run? A 4.5 or something
just
like that?
Just an absolute monster of a talent that's going to create a lot of mix match against those DBs and linebackers. He's going to outrun the linebackers, and he's going to outmuscle the DBs. So Carolina here, also a switch at QB, taking on Darnold from the Jets. They want to give this guy some playmakers so that way they can make the most out of that transaction that they had. And even if Darnold doesn't come along, Teddy Bridgewater, a lot of love for him there if he stays in Carolina, if he's thrown to Kyle Pitts. So
they have now in Carolina, of course, they've got Christian McCaffrey, an all-world running back, who I don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy, but let's just say he's healthy. Then they've got the kid from DJ Moore from Maryland, who is a stud. They've got some weapons in Carolina now. That's a team. I'm a big fan of Matt Rule. By the way, if you ever get a chance, go do a Google image search of Matt Rule, and this is what you're going to see. Ready? This is what you're going to see. That's my doppelganger. Matt Rule is my doppelganger. Go do a Google image search. Matt Rule. It's this guy right here. So if you don't see me on some Sundays, all of a sudden I'm missing. Maybe I'm down in Carolina coaching the Panthers. Do it. Everybody who's listening right now, go and do a Google search.
I need someone to do this. I need someone to confirm for me. We're going to continue the show, but I need someone confirmed that I'm actually talking with the Carolina coach right now. I'm glad that you like Kyle Pitts as a pick, because I was a little conflicted here.
Yeah,
I did think that they needed some offensive line help, but in this regard, I just don't think you can let a talent like this slide that much further. And admittedly, a little bit, we've talked about this before. I didn't want Pitts going to an NFC East team. Which is coming up. This one scares me. Washington has some issues with covering the tight end as it is. Then you put this guy on the field, he's going to be scary. But he's going to be scary for Carolina. We'll see if the Stoner, aka Matt Rule, can coach him up at the level that we expect him to. We're going to continue down the draft here. We've got for pick number 9, somebody who you might recognize if you've been a longtime fan of Ref the District.
All right, so I'm being told it's Denver's turn, and I'm also being told that I'm picking for Denver. I don't even know what a Bronco is. I know it's, or I assume it's a kind of horse. Is it just a boy horse? Is it a girl horse? The team really should be called just the Denver Horses. Anyway, for the ninth pick, Denver Horses pick Kyle Pitts. For the 9th pick, the Denver Broncos pick Caleb Farley. Confidently.
Okay, all right. I got to get better about making sure I get that transition a little bit smoother. We're going to get to that pick real quick. Apparently, you're right. You are Matt Rule. A lot of people think that you could be twins. All right.
Thank you.
That aside, thank you, Matt, for making the pick there. That was pretty fun. Caleb Farley, that to me, that strikes a little bit odd, in my opinion, when you're talking about the talent that is available and it looks like Stoner might have froze on us. So that's going to be, of course, this is episode 13. Expected some fun stuff there. So as he freezes, we'll get him back in a little bit. But Caleb Farley was somebody who I didn't expect to go at number 9. I would have figured that we would have seen. We got the Stoner back. We'll wait for him to come back here, and we'll fix his screen. Again, we stream live every Sunday. You can catch the rebroadcast. There you are, Stoner. We got you back. We'll wait for your screen to adjust here before I start messing around with it myself. But Caleb Farley, let me know what you think about him as now that you're back. Maybe now you look like you're frozen again. Episode 13. There we go. Now you're back. You're really back this time.
Whew, okay, I'm glad to be back. So where were we? What were we talking about?
Episode 13 is gonna do some stuff on us. Eminem Oldham is saying, is Caleb Farley the next Champ Bailey? Do you think that Caleb Farley was taken right at the 9th pick, or do you think that he is somebody who should have fallen? He's frozen again, guys. We're just going to have to continue without the Stoner. I don't think I would have gone with Caleb Farley. I think that a lot of people on their draft board are looking at Patrick Surtain as the pick of choice for your cornerbacks. So I think that's an interesting pick for Denver. Maybe he'll go out there and be the right pick. But Stoner, we're going to go ahead and move on while you're figuring out your internet. Again, he is traveling, folks. We appreciate your patience with him as he's out and about. But as far as this is concerned here, we're going to move on to our number 10 pick. And on the clock, it's Katie with Dallas.
Hey Nathan and Stoner, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm Shady Katie, and with the 10th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, hopefully, select cornerback J.C. Horn from South Carolina. In the 2020 season, Dallas ranked 23rd in the league in defense. So this defense needs 2 things going into the draft: versatility and Jesus. Well, at least J.C. Horn can help with one of those things. His versatility and willingness to spread himself out on the field is going to make him a great asset for the team. So that's who we're going with. As for the Jesus part, well, he turned water into wine. So I think you can guess what I'm going to go to next. Cheers, guys.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, J.C. Horn works out better than Stoner's internet there at his undisclosed location. This again was another interesting pick to me because this J.C. Horn, highly talented, very talented player. And I trust Katie knows her stuff about the Dallas Cowboys, and she definitely knows her sports stuff. So, this was one that I think is a little shocking. But is she going to be a fan or a GM here? Because, again, I really think that Patrick Surtain is the guy who is really looked at as the top corner. But now you're saying that he's going to be the 3rd one taken off the board. Where he lands, it'll be interesting. So Eminem's Oldham playing off and saying that was one ugly shirt that Katie had. We'll let them discuss that out into the live chat. Again, we stream these live every Sunday at 10 o'clock. Go ahead and subscribe, like our channel, and follow so you can catch us live. Normally, the Stoner's internet has been better, but again, he's traveling. So we are going to continue down these picks. Number 11, it's going to be the Giants taking a pick right here. This is going to be Brian.
What's up, Nathan and Stoner? Hey, man, shouts out to a great show, Ref the District. Really good show, bro. But, hey, let's get to business. With the number 11 pick, the New York Giants pick Micah Parsons from Penn State University. What a great pick. Super fast, pass rusher, can stop the run. He's going to be one of those great Giant linebackers because, the Giants always gets the best linebackers. That's what the defense is always built on. That's what I'm talking about. New York, baby.
All right, so that was our pick. This is one that I know a lot of Washington fans would be excited about because Micah Parsons obviously plays nearby in Penn State. And Stoner, we got you back a little bit, so I appreciate you. We'll see if you stick around, and then you freeze us up again. I tell you what, we might take a small intermission here and let him reboot. Let's get through this Micah Parsons one, and then we'll take a small break here. But we have, Micah Parsons, great talent, opted out. He can fly out all over the place. A lot of fans, think that he might have some character issues, which will drop him later in the draft. Again, I know a lot of Washington fans would like to see Micah Parsons fall to the 19th pick. Will that happen? We'll see. It won't happen. Will it happen Thursday? We'll see. But as far as this draft, first ever Ref the District inaugural first round mock draft, it did not happen. When we come back, we're going to take a small break. When we come back, Philadelphia is on the clock. And we got an old friend on that pick as well. You might recognize him, D1 college athlete, coming here in just a little bit. All right, we're back. Stoner's back with us. I'm sorry, Matt Rule's back with us.
Matt Rule's here.
We appreciate your patience. For those of you who stayed, we did have quite a few people drop off, so I appreciate those who stuck around for the rest of our mock draft here. Now, the ones that you missed.
Where are we?
You missed. Caleb Farley's when you cut out. I was surprised that he was the first corner taken, followed by J.C. Horn. Now, Katie knows her stuff and she knows her Dallas Cowboys, so I got to trust her on that. And honestly, he is somebody who, J.C. Horn, is one of the highly touted players. But, as Eminem Oldham says, in these uncertain times, we don't know when the fall will stop for Patrick Surtain here. Giants took Micah Parsons. Love that pick. Hate it for the Washington football team, but I love it as I think he's going to be a great talent. I think that he's going to be a good linebacker for them, which really again is upsetting for the Washington football team. So before your internet cuts out again on us on an undisclosed location, again we stream these live. So if you dropped it, because of the issues, don't worry. You can catch the rebroadcast later on our YouTube channel. And of course, you can be catching these picks. Stoner's keeping everybody updated on @RefTheDistrict at our Twitter account. So we're going to continue with the picks here. At number 12, we have a friend of the channel, Kwame, with Philadelphia. You're on the clock.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner. Love the show. It's your boy, Caleb Jr., here to make the honorary pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's a blessing to be here. And with this pick, I think we're gonna like it. We're gonna love it. You might not love it because you guys are Washington Redskins, Washington football team fans. I'm sorry, but I love it. So with that being said, with the 12th pick in the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the Philadelphia Eagles will be selecting Patrick Surtain II, cornerback out of the University of Alabama. This is a guy who will lock down your number one receiver, who will run with anybody, who's long, lengthy, and he will get the ball. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. Can't wait to see him pick off the Washington football team. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you. Love the show. Thanks for having me. The marathon continues. Checking out.
All right, thank you, Kwame. Go ahead and check out his channel. He's been on the show before. Great young guy. Wish the best for him. There in southern Alabama. Taken finally, the stop has ended for who I had number one on my board for the cornerbacks, Patrick Surtain, as he calls them. So for Philadelphia, he says that he hopes that he picks off Washington quite a bit. Do you think that's going to be the possibility there? Do you think that, there was a cornerback highly touted last year that did not do well? So do you think that, this is going to be someone who, because he, as mentioned, Kwame mentions, has the length, has the speed. Does he live up to the hype?
Yeah, he's a very solid pick. I think that's a very smart pick for the Eagles. They need anything. They should just be taking the best player on the board at this point. They need just about everything. And I think Kwame missed an opportunity. He should have put himself there. I know he's not. I know he's not in the draft this year, but he should have just said, "You know what? I'm taking myself for the Eagles." But yeah, a great pick for the Eagles. I think he'll do well. He's got the NFL pedigree. His father was a longtime cornerback in the NFL. So yeah, Patrick Surtain is an excellent pick for the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I think that will work out. We hope Kwame we'll be able to call Kwame's name next year in the draft. We'll see how that works out for him and his season this year. We're going to continue on here for pick number 13. It's the Chargers. The clock.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, Stoner. Just want to say thank you for having me on the podcast. I will be picking for the Los Angeles Chargers. With that being said, with a 13th pick in the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Samuel Cosmi, offensive tackle from Texas. He stands at 6'6", 314 pounds, but he runs a blazing 4.85 40-yard dash. He also runs a 1.68 10-yard slit and a 2.75 20-yard dash. He topped this off with a 10-foot broad, a 30-inch vertical, and 36 reps on the bench press.
All right, second tackle off the board. We got Samuel Cosmi taken by the Chargers. I think it's a smart pick to take offensive line. You've got the QB of the future there, so taking that line to protect him. Cosmi, though, were you surprised that this was the pick?
I was surprised. There's a lot of higher rated tackles still on the board, but Cosmi is one of those guys who I believe played for 4 years, very solid. He's not going to necessarily stand out every week, but he's going to be a solid player for a long time. So I think it's a great pick for the Chargers. Like you said, they've already got their quarterback. They've got some good pieces. They're an up-and-coming team. So yeah, solid pick. Excellent pick by Kai there, who is one of the first listeners to our show. So thanks for doing that, Kai. That was pretty awesome.
Appreciate that, Kai. And, he mentions the athleticism there for Cosmi. Mm-hmm. That should be a good play for the Chargers. On the clock now, it's Minnesota. And Stoner, you've got this pick.
All right, so I'm going to take this pick. Now, bear with me for 1 second here because
broke out the glasses.
Yeah, because I actually don't have the list open and I can't remember. Was it Christian Darrisaw?
It was Christian Darrisaw.
Yeah, sorry. So I don't have it up, and I'm trying to limit what I'm opening in my windows here because we've already seen the disaster that can happen when I got too much stuff going on. But Christian Darrisaw is another tackle coming off the board. A lot of people had him rated as the one or the second rated tackle on the board. He's a big, strong kid, obviously out of Virginia Tech, fairly local from this area. And for Minnesota, they need somebody like that. They've got a lot of offensive pieces already. I thought about an edge rusher for them, but I think a tackle is just a solid piece for them to protect Kirk Cousins, our guy Kirk, or as
Kirk.
Bruce Snyder used to call him Kirk Cousins. Yeah, so they've got running backs, they've got receivers. They just need some linemen there. Good pick for Minnesota. Thank you. I'm patting myself on the back for that.
I think it's a solid pick for them to take a lineman. I know a lot of people were looking at Darrisaw to fall down to the 19th again for Washington to see whether or not that's going to be a player in line for them. Washington could use some offensive line help. Not really their number one need. They have some needs elsewhere, which we'll get to as we get towards the 19th pick. But right now, we have New England on the clock.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner. This is Jacques coming to you from about 30 miles south of Foxborough Stadium. And with the 15th pick in this year's draft, the New England Patriots select Mac Jones, quarterback from the University of Alabama. When you think about a Bill Belichick offense, whether it's Josh McDaniels calling the plays or somebody else, what really counts is accuracy. They're going to get receivers open, and what you need is a quarterback who's going to be able to get the ball to them where they are. And Jones really fits the bill there. Love the show, guys. Cheers. Back to you.
Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy with Mac Jones being off the board for New England.
All right, you can have
Thank
him.
you. Sounds good. No, it makes sense. For, what he's talking about here, Jock's talking about, right? So when you're talking about a Belichick system, this is a guy who and Mac Jones who you can put in there, and he's going to believe that system, and he's going to go for that. Interesting that Mac Jones is taken before Trey Lance. Right now, New England does have a quarterback that's probably closer into the Trey Lance territory than Mac Jones. we're not big fans of Mac Jones. Okay, that's obvious. But do you think this is a good pick for New England?
I guess they need their quarterback of the future because Cam Newton is on a 1-year deal again. He didn't necessarily prove to them that he was their long-term solution or even a mid-short-term solution like a 3 or 4 year guy. So they had to get somebody, and I guess Bill Belichick has taken a strong-armed, unathletic player before and molded him into a Hall of Famer. So I guess that's the pick Jacques. Yeah, that's the pick Jacques wants to make for him. Thank you for taking him off the board and not creating a huge debate for us whether we should take him at 19.
Yeah, much appreciated on that. I do want to say for Cam Newton, as far as this is concerned, Cam Newton didn't have OTAs last year with the weird season, so didn't play well. Definitely not up to his MVP status that he had several years ago. Maybe this year will be different as they get to a little bit more of a more playtime, more stuff. We'll see. Bill Belichick is a good coach. Obviously going to be in a Hall of Fame later on, thanks to what he did in New England. And we're going to, again, thank Jacques for taking off Mac Jones with that 15th pick. Number 16th pick, Arizona, and the first ever inaugural first-round mock draft for Ref the District. It is Arizona taking Rashawn Slater. Another tackle off the board. This one from Northwestern. The Arizona needs to protect their little toddler behind the offensive line.
Toddler.
And Kyle Murray. So this is a smart pick for them. Rashawn Slater looked at as one of the top tackles. You have Peni Sewell, Christian Darrisaw, and then Rashawn Slater were my top 3 that I had in for tackles, offensive linemen. We were throwing through a loop there with Kai for Samuel Cosme. But now Rashawn Slater being picked up by Arizona, boosting that offensive line. They've got help elsewhere for him. They've got the offensive talent. They're putting on some defensive talent. Arizona might be a scary team this year if Murray can stay upright the entire season.
Yeah, excellent pick, Nathan. I think you hit all the great points about him. Offensive tackle. This is an offensive tackle / quarterback / receiver kind of draft almost. These guys are going quick. So if you wanted one of those guys, probably you're going to move up to get him. As you see, if this was your draft, you'd see all these tackles going, and you're like, "Well, we want this guy. We're going to have to move up." So, but yeah, another outstanding pick. Not sexy, but it certainly will help your team for many years down the road.
All right, moving on to our number 17th pick. Stone, you're on the clock for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, I don't know what that front office does most of the time. So when we talk about our hashtag fan, not GM, this might be one of those cases where I should be the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders. So in this case, with the 17th pick of the first ever inaugural first round Ref the District draft. We have so many names.
I love how we're making it the most complicated naming convention we possibly can.
On behalf of the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm going to select. I have no idea how to say his name. I'm sure I've heard it a million times, but I still don't know if it's Quiddy Pay, Quiddy Pie, Quiddy Pie, Cutie Pie. I don't know, but I'll say Quiddy Pay, who's the defensive lineman from Michigan, and because he's from Michigan, I have nothing good to say about him, but we drafted him. So you can take it from here. I don't care. I don't like him.
Well, you went D-line here. Why did you go D-line for the Raiders?
Well, the Raiders need everything. I mean, they trade half of their best players away. They drafted a first-round defensive lineman last year, and that seems to be a terrible pick. Everybody said it was a terrible pick, and it turned out to be a terrible pick. Time will tell. But, yeah, they just need anything. So I basically went with best player on the board here.
Dustin and Sarah say that is a good pick. So you might not be a fan, but they
Who said
appreciate
that?
pick. That was Dustin and Sarah. Those are our fans watching from Canada. So
So are they Michigan fans?
They might be Canadian football fans, so they might not understand it either. So we'll have to see. But we're going to go ahead and continue. It's Tony back on the clock. Miami.
Back again for the Dolphins. And I say with the 18th pick of the draft, the Dolphins stay on offense and draft Najee Harris. Get some familiarity for Tua, get some of those Bama boys together, and get some offense on the field, get them explosive, put some points on the board.
Okay, first running back taken in the draft is Najee Harris. Interesting pick, I think, for Miami. Tony talked about it being for that offensive playmaking and some familiarity with Tua. And that makes sense. That he has Devontae Smith at the 6th overall pick. Now taking another Alabama guy to go with your Alabama quarterback. Are they just the South Alabama, team here? A lot of people like to make fun of Washington for a lot of our Alabama players, but looks like Miami's going all in on that Alabama offense has looked good these last few years. Do you think Najee Harris makes a splash? First round running backs kind of iffy.
Yeah, I'm the type that would never draft a first round running back because I think many of them are a dime a dozen. But there are guys who stand out. Najee Harris is one of those guys who stands out. He can do it all. He's tough. He's physical. He's fast. He can catch the ball. So I think this is a very good pick. And something about his character. I'm a big character guy, although if you have terrible character and you can play, you can be on my team as well. But I do like to draft character guys, and he's a character guy. He's a leader. I would love to have him on any team. So that's a good pick. I mean, they're really loading up on offense there in Miami with, like you said, they got Tua last year, Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris. That's pretty good draft the last couple years for the Dolphins.
Yeah, it sounds like, and they've got a lot of movement. They might be trading out of the 6th, and they've picked up several picks from before. We'll see. Miami looks like they're poised to be the leaders of that AFC East race. Now we're going to go back to the NFC East. And Stoner, why don't you make our pick, please?
Well, thanks for that setup. You're just setting me up there. Originally, we talked about how we were going to do the 19th pick, right? I kind of wanted to do something a little bit crazy and say, you can make a pick and I can make a pick. And so Washington gets 2 picks. And you ixnayed that. You said, we're not doing that.
With good reason, Stoner. With good reason.
Yeah, of course. It's good reason. And so you said it's obvious. I think those were your words. It's obvious who they should be drafting. They should be drafting Trey Lance. And I said, no, I do not want to draft Trey Lance at all. I want, at this point, with everybody who's off the board, I want a linebacker, or I want another tackle, or trade back, which we're not doing in this mock draft. But Trey Lance, no, I don't like the pick, but that's who we're picking. Trey Lance, quarterback.
You need to go back, start it from, you got to say it from the whole thing. I need you to say it all. This is going to be the clip we're going to use. Go ahead. I want to hear it.
With the 19th pick of the first ever Ref the District mock draft, the Washington football team, a.k.a. the DCFC, will be selecting Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. I think it's a terrible pick.
You're the person who commented on our video about Trey Lance saying, we don't want him on the team. You're now Matt Rule in that commenter from several weeks ago. You really don't like Trey Lance.
Well, I don't know that I don't like him because, again, going back to the hashtag fan, not a GM, I don't know very much about him, but it's just a gut feeling. I don't like his inaccuracy. I don't like his lack of experience. He's been playing against guys who look like me for the last few years, right? He's been playing against very low competition, high competition for his level, but he's not playing the biggest competition. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like bringing in all these. Now we've got like 6 quarterbacks on the roster, and I don't like it. I I like having one guy. Again, unless everybody's in, everybody says, yeah, this is our guy. So tell me why you want him at the 19th pick.
So one, I think that Washington likes him, and I think Washington would actually in this mock draft would have traded up if he felt that I think they'd be ecstatic if Trey Lance fell to 19 to them. They are in a position right now where they can, have a QB to develop. A lot of people are looking in the later rounds. Again, we talked about the mid-round QBs last week. Davis Mills is a very popular name I'm hearing, and he was one of the picks that I liked in the mid-rounds for Washington. So when you have a QB that's seen as one of the top 5, if not top 3, then you have to, at the 19th, you take him. This isn't the same situation that they had a couple years ago when, they took a QB that's no longer with the team that also had inaccuracy issues. No one saw that player as a top 15 talent. People see Trey Lance, though, as a top 10 talent. Why would you not take him at 19 when you know you can develop him and you can work on those inaccuracies? You can put in some packages to use his athleticism, and then if Fitzpatrick is Fitztragic, then you can throw him into the mix and see what he's at. If not, you do have some serviceable QB options there at Washington. I'm telling you, I think in this draft, Washington, in our first mock draft here, Washington runs to the front with this name. I just think that they're that excited about Trey Lance falling to 19. I don't think it's going to happen. There's no way Trey Lance makes it to 19. Right. It was a very interesting draft. I think that the fans, not GMs, picked good players at where they picked. No one did. No one reached out to us to see if there was a trade up option. And so here we are. Trey Lance available at 19. Washington has to take him. I think it's a very obvious pick. Who would you have taken if not for Trey Lance? You mentioned that you liked the linebacker position. You liked a couple other options. Who would you have taken?
Well, I would have taken the linebacker out of Notre Dame. I can't pronounce his name, but I love him. I think he would be I think he would be a right, exactly.
We might have to pronounce his name. That might be who Washington takes.
Right. That's who I would take. But I don't believe in, look who fell to us. I guess we have to take him, right? No. If he's really your guy, then you're going to move up to get him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not take him just because he falls to you.
No. We're taking him because he fell to us, and because I personally, again, I said obvious choice. It's got to be Trey Lance. That's who Washington needs, a QB of the future. You don't want to necessarily have to risk on a developmental talent from the mid rounds who might not pan out or might just be a backup QB, as we've talked about. You take a guy who is listed as, a lot of people think he's going to go 3rd overall. So a lot of people think San Fran's going to take him.
Might.
So why would you pass on a top 3, top 5 talent, at least top 10, in this draft? I just think that it's a no-brainer for Washington football team.
Here's a term that I absolutely cannot stand, and that's, and believe it or not, it as soon as I thought of it, it left me. Value pick. He's a value pick. I don't believe in that. Just because he fell to you, we got to take him because he's a great value at 19. I don't believe in that. Take your guy at 19, whoever that was. Not, look, here's a guy. We don't necessarily need him, but we're going to take him because he fell to us. I don't believe in that.
You take the best player available, Stoner. You take the best player available, and in my opinion, that is Trey Lance off of this mock board. That's, to me, the best player. Now, the reason why we didn't let you pick JOK was because it ruins the rest of the draft for the players, because now they have to be like, well, I'll take this pick if you guys take Trey Lance, or I'll take this pick if you went JOK. And that's very apparent here in our number 20th pick for Chicago. You're on the clock.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner. Thanks for having me on a show. I catch it every Sunday at 10 a.m. And with that, I will be making the pick for the Chicago Bears. With the 20th pick of the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the Chicago Bears select Cardinius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Toney is 6 foot, 193 pounds, and he's fast. Actually, he's faster than fast and will fit nicely in the Bears' offense. I can't wait to get him in the camp. Thank you, guys. Love the show.
He's faster than fast. We got Kadarius Toney off the board to Chicago. This is someone.
Toney.
This is somebody who Chicago would have easily have taken Trey Lance had they been there, right? So this is where we had to keep the draft solid. Chicago, Kevin, thank you for the pick. Kadarius Toney, wide receiver. This was a name that early on in the draft process, mock draft process, was pushed to Washington football team. Washington football team made some moves, in the free agency for wide receiver, so people started moving off of him. But he's a talent that people liken to our very own Samuel.
Yeah, I think he's a stud. He's going to play for a long time. They say he's quick like Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. So I think that's a perfect fit in Chicago. Love the Chicago accent from Kevin there.
Yeah.
He's a Chicago native, so he nailed that. Loves his Bears. And it's a perfect pick, but you're right. If Washington had not taken Trey Lance, then certainly Chicago would have right there.
They're absolutely desperate for some QB help there in Chicago. Indianapolis, they're in a position here at 21 to make a very interesting pick. Let's see who Paul picks. He's on the clock.
Hey, Nathan Stoner, love the show. I'll be making the pick for the Indianapolis Colts today. With the addition of Carson Wentz and re-signing T.Y. Hilton and Marlon Mack, the offense is looking really great, so I'm really impressed. However, in the past, we've always needed to upgrade our secondary. So, with the 21st pick of the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Richard LeCounte, safety out of Georgia. Richard stands at 5'11" and 190 pounds. His performance at Georgia shows he will be a strong addition to the Colts secondary, a secondary that's had a lot of problems in the past, but we hope to fix that this year. He had 50 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 3 fumble recoveries. Cannot wait to get him in camp and keep things going. Thank you, guys. Love the show.
All right, thank you, Paul, for that pick with Indianapolis. Richard LeCounte, first safety taken off the board. Was this the one that you were expecting?
Yeah, I think so. Again, it's a very solid pick. Nothing sexy about that, but Indianapolis seems to be pretty well set in most positions. So they needed some defensive help, some safety help. Perfect. A guy from Georgia. Of course, you don't know a whole lot about him, except he's very highly rated. Great pick for Indianapolis. Nice job, Paul.
Yep. So we'll see how that works out for him. Safety is a bit of a need for Washington football team. This is where I think a lot of people would be okay if Washington trades back that 19th pick to possibly be able to take a couple of these talents that are, the back end of the first round, high end of the second round. Because I think as we start getting into this area, that you're going to see a lot of picks that maybe not be the top of your board, but were the top of our fan boards. And Tennessee here is on the clock. This is one of my old supervisors. So I broadcast here with Stoner, who was one of my old supervisors. And coming in, it's GB, the one, the only Breezy, Tennessee, number 22 pick. I'm vamping because I need to find the button for
it. Did you find the button?
Yo, Nathan, Stoner. It's your boy, Gary, a.k.a. GB, a.k.a. The Breeze. Love your show, guys. And I'm honored to be a part of the first annual mock draft for Ref the District. Thank you. For number 22 for the Titans, for the first round, I bring you Greg Newsome II. This kid is 190 pounds, 6'1", and he clocks a 4.3740. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you take a corner in the first round? We need him. When your defense ranks number 28 in the league and the passing yards are just looking ridiculous, you need somebody to stop that. This kid is going to be the one to do it. Love your show.
All right, Greg Newsome, the pick by Gary here for Tennessee. Says they need the help on the defense. I believe it because their offense really runs through, pun intended, Derrick Henry. So now here here's something, or like I said, we talked about these picks kind of mix matching. I really love Greg Newsome here, though. This is, I think, a very solid pick, one of my top cornerbacks, and I think that Tennessee would be happy to get him this late in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. When you are a very good team and you've got that late first round pick, you're looking to fill specific holes, right? So that's exactly what Tennessee's doing here. They need some cornerback help. Like you said, they seem to be very solid most places on offense in their lines. So, yeah, excellent pickup for a cornerback for Tennessee there.
On the clock right now, it's our friends from the Jets, Jets.
So, and with the 23rd pick it's the 23rd pick. And with the 23rd pick in the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the New York Jets select Patrick Jones II, edge rusher, Pittsburgh. Whew, I like it. The Jets have a good history with players from Pittsburgh. It's just Darrelle Revis, but the greatest Jet ever. At least the greatest Jet of the modern era, whose career accomplishments are vast. I mean, sure, the greatest Jet of the modern era, his best accomplishment was winning a Super Bowl with the Patriots. But there are other Jets who have been good, and Darrelle was good for us. Revis Island, he had a Nike training sneaker. He was on a Sports Authority commercial. So things are looking up for the Jets.
All right. So looking more at Revis history, and maybe the Jets history overall, but Patrick Jones, the edge rusher there for the Jets, are they going to be able to turn the corner here? Do you think that with the Zach Wilson, with the defensive help that they're trying to get here and with the second pick, are going to be able to turn the corner? We talked about Miami being in very good position. New England, you have to count them as a possible threat at every year. The Bills looked really good last year. Is this enough to keep the Jets in contention?
There's nothing that the Jets can do to keep them in contention. They are a horrifically run franchise. So I don't care who they draft. They could have had 5 first-rounders, and they're going to take bad selections, bad players. I feel bad for Patrick Jones. You'll never hear from him again. So, I mean, you won't. You tell me when you'll ever hear from him again. I remember it was a few years ago, and it was the year that the Washington was when they drafted Daron Payne. And there was about 3 or 4 defensive linemen that were always being compared around that pick. I think I may have my years messed up, but I believe. And the Jets took Leonard Williams, I think, maybe 2 picks before them or 3 picks before them, and he's a guy I wanted. And the Jets picked him. Well, he's having a fantastic career in New York, but for the Giants, not the Jets, because the Jets gave up on him, and now he's got this huge contract making Pro Bowls, and the other New York team with the Giants. So the Jets are just terribly run. I don't care who they pick. It's going to be a bad pick. Sorry, Patrick.
To be fair, they had Gase in charge, and you're not gonna win many games for that. And they definitely have been doing some questionable things. I like this pick as far as an edge rusher. I think that this is a good pick here. Pittsburgh not really in need for an edge rusher. They're picking here at 24 with Mike on the clock.
Hey Nathan and Stoner, this is Mike from Hershey, Pennsylvania. With the 24th pick of the first annual Ref the District mock draft, Pittsburgh Steelers select Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State University. Tevin is a massive offensive tackle, coming in at 6'6", 320 pounds. Big attitude, plays with a huge chip on his shoulder, and he loves destroying anybody that lines up in front of him. Steelers finished last in the league in running last year. Can't have that happen again. So I can't wait to get him in the camp, beef up that front line, and get back to playing Steeler football. Thanks.
All right, another offensive lineman off the board with Tevin Jenkins. Pittsburgh definitely needs the help on the line. Big Ben is not as mobile as he was, and honestly, not as durable as he could be for a guy his size. But that's partly because they just let everybody get through. So Tevin Jenkins hopefully shores up that line for Pittsburgh and Big Ben. You have any thoughts on it?
Well, Pittsburgh is one of those teams that every year you think, okay, this is the year they finally go 2-14 and have to clean house and start all over. Yet somehow they continue to just be at the top of their game, and I think that's coach related. I think Tomlin's a fantastic coach. But yeah, last year their running game was abysmal, so they needed an offensive lineman. They lost Villanueva, I believe, one of their best offensive linemen. He moved on. So yeah, it's a solid pick. They need a lot in Pittsburgh. I think this is the year they finally go 3-13 and Ben retires and they have to start all over. Maybe even a new coach. Maybe Tomlin retires and just start all over. And it's a good cornerstone. Start with the left tackle and build around and get going. Good choice. Good choice by Mike.
Tomlin with that 3-year extension and the Pittsburgh Steelers not having, I think they've had 3 coaches in the last 55 plus years. So some stability there in Pittsburgh that Washington fans would love
to
have. Yeah, we're not very familiar with that at any corner or any aspect outside of ownership. Is about the only thing that you can be certain for with the Washington football team. With the 25th pick in the first ever inaugural first round mock draft for Ref the District, on behalf of the Jacksonville Jaguars, I will select Jason Owe out of Penn State edge rusher. This is Jacksonville. They took Trevor Lawrence. They could take some offensive help for them, but what we know here in Washington football team is if you build that defense will help out your young QB better than a lot of those offensive playmakers. At least that's my thinking here. That's why I went with the edge rusher out of Penn State, Jason Owe. Would you have taken any differently for them? Maybe you would have grabbed one of the splashy receivers still left on the board?
No, I think that's an excellent pick. They need an edge rusher. Again, they're one of those teams that needs pretty much everything. They're starting over. So best player on the board, I think that's an excellent pick. Nice pick, Nathan. Fan, not a GM. Nice pick.
All right, well, we got another fan here for Cleveland. Jared, you're on the clock.
Hey, Nathan and Stoner. Thanks for having me. Solid show, guys. I'll be making the pick for my Cleveland Browns in the first ever Ref the District mock draft. So, for the 26th pick in this year's NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns will select Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker, Notre Dame. Jeremiah is 6'1", 216 pounds, and in his 2 years as a starter, he racked up 142 tackles, 24 and a half of those for a loss, and 7 sacks. He also broke up 7 passes, recovered 4 fumbles, and forced 5 of those. So I believe he's going to fit right in to defensive coordinator Joe Wood's scheme with a defense that's already made huge improvements in free agency, as most of us have already witnessed. So go Browns. If you get a chance, check out Cleveland and Beyond, wherever podcasts are found. Little plug. And thanks for having me, guys. Much appreciated. Go Browns. Take care. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Jared. And yes, he does broadcast with Cleveland and Beyond, and he did a better job at us being professional there, Stoner, and actually figuring out how to pronounce Jeremiah Owusu-K is what we'll give him. Cleveland's pick, that was your linebacker that you wanted. So I know that you're really happy for this pick as far as a standpoint of like this player is good.
Yeah. Nice choice for Jared picking for Cleveland. He is an excellent linebacker. They need help defensively. They're one of those teams that offensively they seem to be set. They just need some help defensively. So excellent pick, and thanks to Jared. Like you said, Cleveland and Beyond is an excellent podcast. I highly recommend checking them out as well.
Yep, they do some great things out there. So thank you, Jared, for the love here on Ref the District. Moving to the where are we at here now? 27th. Oh, yeah. We don't actually have a video for this one, but Joe, our buddy Joe, did make the pick for Baltimore I'll go ahead and take it here. So with the 27th overall pick in the first ever inaugural mock draft for Ref the District, Baltimore will select on behalf of Joe Anderson, Elijah Moore. You have anything you want to say about Baltimore's pick? The team up north, not the team up north that you're used to, nor that Jared is used to as well, but up to 95 here, we got the Baltimore Ravens taking Elijah Moore.
Yeah, they're actually straight west for me. They're about 8 miles west, the stadium for Baltimore. But yeah, that's an excellent pick. Everybody knows that Baltimore is taking a receiver first round. That's what they lack. They took a receiver first round last year in Hollywood Brown, and he had mixed reviews. He started chirping halfway through the year, "Why aren't you giving me the ball?" kind of deal, which is pretty ballsy for a rookie wide receiver. So everybody knows they may end up moving up to get somebody other than Elijah Moore. But again, this is a wide receiver heavy draft, so it's an excellent pick that Joe made for the Ravens.
Don't disagree. Maybe not my wide receiver. Maybe we'll see where Rashad Bateman goes. That's the one that I like that's still on the board. We'll see then if New Orleans, my buddy Emmett, takes him with pick number 2018. He's on the clock.
Hello to Nathan, Stoner, and the Ref the District Nation. Thank you guys for inviting me out and participating in this draft this year. I'm super excited to be here. Today I'm going to be making my pick for the New Orleans Saints. And with the 28th pick of the first annual Ref the District mock draft, the New Orleans Saints will be selecting Ifeatu Melifonwu, cornerback at Syracuse University. Some great things about Ifeatu. He's about 6'3", 215 pounds, great zone coverage. He's going to do an excellent job and complement the New Orleans defense very nicely. Keep an eye out for this kid. I guarantee he's going to do some very, very good things in the Crescent City pretty soon. And once again, thank you guys for having me out for the draft. Nathan, Stoner, can't wait to see you guys in the next show.
All right, very eventful background there. We could use some of those skills here on the show here. Thank you, Emmett, for that pick. So we got another cornerback taken off. Is this just that deep of a draft that we're seeing the defensive backs being taken so heavily in the first round?
Yeah, this is definitely, like we talked about earlier, this is a quarterback, receiver, offensive lineman, cornerback kind of draft. There isn't much else drafted in the first round here. So he's a perfect fit for the Saints. The Saints are another one of those teams that every year I expect them to go 3-13, and they just keep rebuilding, keep bringing in guys that fit their system, and he's another guy. They need defensive help, that's for sure. So good for New Orleans getting a cornerback there.
Definitely a team that really makes fans realize that the cap numbers don't matter.
Don't matter.
Every year they find a way to get back under. They were $50 million over, I think, this year, and managed to get back underneath the cap. So pretty impressive there. New Orleans, Emmett's pick, Ifeatu Melifonwu. If I pronounced that wrong,
nice.
I'm 100% certain I did, but we tried our best.
100% certain you did?
Pronounce it wrong.
Oh, pronounce it wrong.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So moving on to the 29th pick, it's Green Bay with our buddy John.
Hey, what's up, Nathan and Stoner? It's John with your 2021 Green Bay Packers NFL draft pick. This year, I'm running the show and I'm doing things differently. We've gone far too long without picking a number one wide receiver. In fact, we haven't done it since 2002. I think this year we change that up. We draft Rashad Bateman, number one from the University of Minnesota. He's 6'1", 195, has good hands, runs a good route, whatever. You know what? Leave that for Mel Kiper Jr. I'm going to tell you right now that after Devontae Adams, who is a good wide receiver, he is a true number one. But after him, we've got no production from our wide receiver core. We've got guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Equanimeous St. Brown. These aren't names you're going to get excited about. These are names that are going to score you more points in a game of Scrabble than they will in an NFL football game. We have not drafted for Aaron Rodgers. We've not picked up free agents for Aaron Rodgers. We need to get him some help. So Rashad Bateman, you're our guy. You're going to be hopefully our true number two, and hopefully the Packers will do something this year besides, peter out in the NFC Championship game. But you know what? I bet you they do better than the Washington football team. I got $5 grand on it.
All right. Do you still have the 5 rand, or does he have the 5 rand?
I think he still owes me
owes
way
you the
more
5
than
rand?
5 rand. He owes me like 5 rands from all the bets I won.
All right. Well,
and how much is 5 rand worth, by the way? Is that
Probably
worth
now
like
it's probably
15
like it was like a
cents?
quarter before, I think. Yeah. So it's not very much. Some old AFN Ramstein, the regional news bureau, fun there with our buddy John. Taking Rashad Bateman. This is a wide receiver that I liked. I think that this guy, can. He said leave it to Mel Kiper. I'm gonna speak on behalf of Rashad Bateman here. That yes, he does run a good route. Like this is somebody, and that's what I like coming out. There's 2 things when you're looking to draft a wide receiver. To me, you want somebody who has game time speed and somebody who can create separation. To me, that's what I like to see coming out of college. Rashad Bateman can, has that ability to run those routes. And so I think that he'll be a solid pickup for Green Bay, needing some offensive talent, needing something to get Aaron Rodgers back into the Super Bowl. We'll see if this is what, takes them over that hump. Next on the clock, we got Buffalo, your pick at number 30.
All right, so with the 30th pick of the first ever Ref the District mock draft, on behalf of the Bills, I'm going to take Greg Rousseau, defensive lineman, edge rusher out of Miami. Buffalo is the team that I believe is going to come out of the AFC this year. They have basically everything that they need. They re-signed a lot of their same guys on defense. They're very solid defense. They need that playmaking edge rusher. This guy fits that mold. I think it's a perfect fit. And watch out for Buffalo. That's my way, way, way too early prediction of who's going to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
I don't know about the Super Bowl, but they do have a really good team, and this just adds to them. Gregory Rousseau is a name that has been shooting up the boards lately, and people are saying that he is going to be a monster. We'll see if that comes to fruition for the Buffalo Bills. We're going to move on to our 31st pick. Now, this was done before this Friday's switcheroo with Baltimore and the Kansas City. So our pick here in the mock draft will be for Kansas City. And we're going to show you that video from our buddy Lee here.
Hello, fellow former AFNers, and greetings from the Heartland. The Super Bowl loss to the Bucs made it painfully clear the Chiefs need to do a much better job at protecting Patrick Mahomes. So with the 31st pick in the first ever Ref the District mock draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Dylan Radins. The left tackle from North Dakota State has the ability to make an immediate impact on the Chiefs' offensive line and provide much-needed protection for the NFL's best quarterback. Thanks, Stoner and Nathan. Love what you guys are doing. Please keep it up. And go Chiefs.
All right. So the Chiefs don't have to pick a tackle at 31 because they've got their tackle. They traded their 31st pick and a bunch of other stuff, picks and a bunch of other stuff for an offensive tackle that has some experience. Interesting pick, though, with Dylan Radins. Not somebody who I expected here, in the first round. Looked like more of a second-round talent to me, especially coming out of North Dakota State. But when you have a position you need and you got a guy you like, you're going to take him there. Will this be something Baltimore takes? Will this be a person Baltimore takes because they just got rid of an offensive tackle? Is this somebody who they might be looking at?
Maybe if they can get him in the second round or third, something like that. But I don't think Baltimore moves off of that needing a receiver first, and then they can get a tackle to replace Orlando Brown. But yeah, I mean, Lee was thinking the same way that the Chiefs are thinking. They know they need an offensive lineman. They traded for one, gave up their first round pick, which is basically the same thing as drafting one. And so, yeah, solid pick there for Lee and the Chiefs.
Washington was linked to Orlando Brown as well. Reports are saying that the price just got too high.
That's right.
I think that's
Which
fair.
is fine. Yep, that's fine.
I think that's fair. So, all right, our last pick. It's number 32. Tampa Bay is on the clock, and with the 32nd overall pick And the first ever inaugural first round mock draft, ref the districts, we got Tampa Bay selecting Christian Barmore. Now, this was a very difficult pick for me to find for them because it was just like, what do they really need? They've got a solid team. A lot of their playmakers are coming back. And I ended up going with this pick because this helps infuse some youth to a defensive line that has a lot of big names, but a lot of those names are older and a lot of those names are on shorter deals. So this allows them to stay stocked on that and, possibly make another push for the Super Bowl this year. But even when Tom Brady finally, changes teams or, retires, that they have a defense that's still built to at least get them to the playoffs. So that's our mock draft. Did you have anything you want to add in there on that 32nd pick, or anybody who you're surprised wasn't taken in the first round?
No, I think those are all solid picks. Everybody did a great job of taking this, for the most part, seriously. At least their pick they took seriously, and their videos were fantastic. Thanks to everyone for doing this. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot more exhausting than I thought it was going to be. I mean, I'm worn out. I just worked for like an hour and a half, and I am beat. I am wiped out. But yet, it was a lot of fun doing that draft, that's for sure.
It certainly was. So that was your first ever inaugural first round mock draft with Ref the District. Hope that you enjoyed it. We stream live here every Sunday. We are running along for this one. We expected that on Thursday we'll be live tweeting, so you'll catch us tweeting with our tweet account. You can see it right there at Ref the District. You can also follow myself at the Nathan Perry and at StoneDog23. We'll be interacting with the Ref the District chat, the live tweeting of the draft. Who is Washington football team going to take? Let us know in the comment section whether or not you're watching it here live or if you're catching the rebroadcast later today when I get that out there. Let us know who you pick in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell so that way you know when we're going to be going live. But that was the game for today. Let's get to the post game. Some big things happened this week within the Washington football team. We missed one a couple weeks ago, but more recently, it was the Alex Smith retirement. So what do you have to say to Alex and his retirement?
Well, a couple of things there. First of all, I'm glad he's retiring because, number one, he's retiring on his own terms. He got to come all the way back from that injury and then play for a little bit and then retire and say, look, I gave it everything I had and then I retired. Good for Alex Smith. Good for basically everybody involved in his camp. I'm really happy for him. What I've heard a lot in this last week, which I don't understand at all, is there are some people saying he's a Hall of Famer. In particular, one of my favorite writers of all time, John Feinstein, who writes great books, great columns. I read him all the time. I listen to him. I watch him, all of that. He said Alex Smith is a Hall of Famer. Sorry, John, Alex Smith is not anywhere close to a Hall of Famer. He might not even be Hall of Very Good. He's Hall of Good, but not Hall of Famer. So I don't know if you've heard that talk in the last week about Hall of Fame for Alex Smith. Come on.
No.
He was never a guy who was considered even like a top 5 quarterback at any point during his career.
I would disagree with that, right? Because he was the number 1 overall pick. So he was at least seen as a top 5 QB coming out of the draft, right? Now, you're right. I think that he is a good player. I think that he elevated his teammates quite often. Hall of Fame, no. I just think this is what people like to talk about when a player retires. You had the Julian Edelman talk before that, where people were like, "Oh, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame because he's like one of the most prolific playoff wide receivers." Sorry, just not there. Alex Smith is not there as well. In 5 years, we're not going to be having this argument because no one's going to be thinking about the injury and his comeback, which was great. What I have been hearing more of is about that injury and maybe some animosity towards the Washington football team. It seems like Coach Rivera and the team were very, very cautious about wanting to put him back in, and they were putting him through the rigors. And Alex, a veteran, kind of saw that as a slight, because it was like they're trying to break him, is kind of what it came out to be, and apparently the doctor agreed. So I don't know about that. I would have been cautious too. I mean, I was holding my breath when he's wearing Aaron Donald as a backpack. In his first game back, I would have been nervous, because you don't want, this guy came close to death, and you don't want to put him in that position. It's not, I don't think it's a slight. I think it's that they care about him as a person, and they don't want to put him into a position where, he loses life or limb again, and obviously his leg has not recuperated, that's why he's not picked up with the team, and that's why he's retiring. So best of luck to him.
Yeah, and injury aside, they didn't want to play him because he wasn't good enough, but they didn't have any choice. That's what the position they were in with their quarterback situation.
It was the Steve Sim Jr. of the QB position. If I had anybody else, I would play him.
That's exactly
what
right.
Rivera said about Steve Sims Jr. is at catching those punts. I don't know, man. The guy was 5-1. I know wins. QB wins don't really exist. Wins are a team stat, but there was something they were doing with him under QB that wasn't being done with the other QBs. And even though his stats weren't great, even he was having, turnovers that Dwayne Haskins was having, something was happening there. The defense was just playing at a better level, whatever that was. I would appreciate, it sounds like maybe those bridges have been burned, but I would appreciate if Alex would come back and take a mentorship role within the team. I don't know if he's going to head to the booth or if he's going to go the coaching route, but a lot of players like to do the coaching thing after the fact. I would love to have him come on, be like a coaching intern for Washington football, because I just think that he brings something to the table that you want to be brought to the table.
So we both agree that he's not a Hall of Famer. Would you put him in the Washington football team Ring of Honor?
Fame? No, I would not.
I mean, he didn't do that much for the team.
No,
he might have played in 20 games.
He did help the team make it to the playoffs this last stretch, so he's a big part of that. It looked like when they were 6-3 that they were possibly going to make the playoffs that year, but most of the time that he's been with Washington, he's been injured. Understandably, that leg snapped, right? So very brutal injury to him. So no, I wouldn't put him in there. I think fondly back on the time that we had with him. I think that his comeback story was amazing, but he doesn't belong in the Washington ring, and he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
That's correct. And also, did you see Jordan Reed had to retire because of his concussions? And when you think of Jordan Reed in his time here, we thought of what an amazing talent he was, and then you go back and you look at his stats, and they were not very impressive.
He was
always hurt.
Yeah, he had a couple years where it was. I think the reason why there's a disconnect there between his stats, Jordan Reed's stats, and how we remember him, is because he just had these amazing catches. Against Green Bay, that snag out of the air, that one-arm snag that probably was going to be a pick six if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't have the ability to take that. Jordan Reed is going to be one of the greatest what ifs, maybe not greatest, but he's going to be up there in like a top 15 what if for Washington as far as players that if they could have just stayed healthy, what could they have done? I think it's very smart for him. Very similar situation to Alex Smith, and then the injuries just piled up. And he came back. He did what he could with San Fran. He made an amazing catch there too, where it was just like right off the ground, still showing that pass catching ability. But the concussions were just piling up, and that's something you don't want to mess with. So appreciate what he did. Probably also not going into the Washington ring for me.
Nope.
But a great talent that we'll never see fully realized because of those concussions. So now Washington this was a few weeks ago, some excitement for a tight end pickup. So a lot of people were confused by this when they picked up Reyes, because he's technically a rookie, so people are like, how are you able to pick him up? Why wasn't it? It's because he's part of the international player program. So Washington saw him and was just like, no, we don't have to worry about Trey Lance. We got another guy here who has stats that are comparable. The guy is a monster, just 6'6", very built guy. I'm jealous of his abs. I got scars from all my surgeries now. He's got just rippling abs, looks like a beast, runs like a beast. Are you excited about Reyes?
No, I'm not. I'm not excited about him. I mean, he's intriguing, but I mean, how often do these stories work out? So I don't think anything's going to come of it. He's Thaddeus Moss 2.0 in terms of a tight end we signed off of the trash heap, and everybody got really excited about it. That's what he's going to be. We're all going to be excited about it. Nothing's going to come of it. He's probably going to get cut in training camp.
Okay.
Hashtag fan, not a GM.
Yeah, fan, not a GM. Because I think you're off your rocker. I don't think this is the Thaddeus Moss situation at all. I don't know that it's going to be Jimmy Graham or Antonio Gates, where this is who's a Tulane basketball player, making the switch to tight end for the NFL is a huge gap, right? I think there's enough there that he, I think enough teams were excited about him as well that there's a reason why we went ahead and we signed him to a deal. He's got a great story. He's here in the DMV. He was doing deliveries just to try to make ends meet for him and his family. He's excited to be with Washington, and I love hearing that. I love hearing when players want to be with Washington for something other than money. Because right. Obviously early on, Dan, the Fan Snyder years, it was like, yeah, I want to come to Washington because they're going to pay me, a lot of money. We want players to come here for the right reasons, and I think that this is somebody who's an intriguing prospect. I think that unlike Thaddeus Moss, I think that this is a player who might actually sniff the field this year. I don't know that he's going to be again this one of these players who years down the road we're talking at like a Hall of Fame level with Antonio Gates, but I think this is a player who can make a splash for us. I think that if he was really at Kyle Pitts level, like he's testing on the athletic scores, then he would be, he would have been a tight end for Tulane or somebody else and not just playing basketball. So there's a reason why he was playing basketball or over football. Glad he's making the switch. Happy to see what he can do for Washington. And we'll see as we get closer there. And that's really it for us here at Washington.
Wait, before you close, I want to bet $1.
Okay, we got a dollar bet.
Or
okay.
five rand.
5 rand, even less than $1.
Okay, no, it'll be $1. I say he doesn't make the roster coming out of camp.
Okay, now I want some clarification.
You said
he's
he's got some playing
I think
time.
he might get some playing time. So you don't think he makes the 53-man roster? Is that the or do you, because does practice squad count? Because he's at least making to the practice squad.
No, practice squad doesn't count. I was saying 53 man.
Okay, you don't think he makes the 53-man roster?
Because he might show enough potential to make a practice squad.
Okay. I will take that dollar bet. We'll see how this pans out. If you would take that dollar bet, let us know either at our Twitter account at RefTheDistrict or here in the comments. We stream live every Sunday, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell so that way you know when we're going live. Had some technical difficulties today as the Stoner is abroad at an undisclosed location. We'll get him back here in the DMV very soon, but we're going to keep broadcasting. We do re-air these later on in the day, so you can catch that rebroadcast. Kwame is in the chat. Thank you, Kwame, for your pick. He says, great show, Kwame. Love it. We love your stuff too, and we wish you all the best. And really, that's all I got here for Ref the District, unless Stoner's got anything else for us.
Good to go. Let's get out of here. I'm going to bed, man.
All right, so we're out.